Hi, welcome to this week's Maya class. So last week discussed about gun modeling, and most of you completed the gun modeling. And this week we discuss about modeling, how to model basic objects and digital objects, and how to apply textures to that. So let's start with that. Before we start with that, I would like you guys to know that most of you might have mastered many of the 3D modeling tools we have. So, for example, you might have mastered this polygon tools. Let's talk about this. So, before we start about this texturing, I would like you guys to know about what is texturing and why we need it. I hope you guys know about what is texturing and materials, because you might have learned in other 3D software. And you must have known well about this low polygon, high polygon models. For example, if the camera is here, for example, if there is a building we are going to focus, let me start with the cube here. I press R, I scaled it, and yeah, I have a cube here. So we just push on the cube here. Great. So once I done the modeling, so this is a cube with the basic shape. So and this is another cube. So look at this one. I'm going to turn on my wireframe on shaded. Now, with this cube, I would like to add much details. For example, I would like to add much details like here one, and here one. You know how we usually do it. Yep, and do that. So we do the process. Great. And we add one here. Okay, we did this. So after this, we shift right click, we apply a smooth. Okay, so here we have a model. So here the models shape like that. And I think I've done some mistake there. Maybe I should go to my insert edge loop. And I forgot to do that. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, that's right. Right click, go to your object mode. Great. Now select this model, shift right click and choose smooth. Okay. Now again another G. Yeah, right. Now I just turn it off. Now you can see that. This has a much soft. Look at that. The edges are much soft here. And when you look at this object, the edge is not soft. Okay, it's not too much soft like how this object is. But why? Why do we need to have such a differences? Point number one. If the object has smooth edges, like we discussed in the bevel, if the object has smooth edges, the light will pass through, light will reflect much easily. If the edges are sharp, the light will reflect much sharply, which would end up in a not proper lighting. So it's always try to make objects which are much blended shape like this. So if the edges are blended and smooth, the light will get reflected properly. That is one reason. And another reason is, if a camera goes near to the object, it is better always to make that object much smoother. Whereas if there is an object where it is far away from the camera, then I would say you don't need to add too much of details to that object, because if the camera stands only here, if the camera won't go near to that object, then there is no point in modeling that object too much of detail, which would reduce the amount of polygon and amount of calculation time and the amount of rendering time for the system. So it is a good practice to model perfect objects only if they are close to the camera, and that's what actually happens in games, and also in movies. So I look at this one. So this is a high poly model. You can go to display and heads up display, and there you have your poly count. Yep. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, this is so this model. Now you can see this object has a faces of 3462. It's too much. And this object has the faces of 3456, and this is 6 faces. So in that way you can reduce the poly count, whereas overall together you have 3462. So 3456 minus plus 6, you get 3462. Yeah. So that's why we need a high poly model, and that's why we need a low poly model. And the reason why game companies prefer low polygon is because to reduce the render time, real-time rendering. Okay. Okay. So let's start with this one. This time I'm going to reduce this one. I'm going to delete this high poly model. Let me keep this model here. Okay. Now I would like to apply a material to this object. Let's do this. Let me just teach you something. There are many ways you can apply a material to an object. For example, this is an object by default have a material of Lambert. When you right click, you can find out material attributes. You can choose the material attributes. Here you could see the object material is Lambert. So here you can see it is Lambert. So this is what Lambert material we have here. So this is a default Lambert material. So whenever you create a new object, let me turn on this. Yeah. Whenever you create a new object, that object will be using the default Lambert material. You know, Lambert is a material which is where you can't get reflection or refraction or too much of thing. It just diffuse. You won't have even a specular there. That's why we prefer, by default, Maya prefers to apply the materials into a Lambert shader. So let me select this, and there are other materials. For example, let me take up yep. Yep. Let me take this one. Let me create new material. So let's select this object, right click, and this time I would like to assign new material. Okay, because when I go to assign existing material, you could see Lambert is there. This is a Lambert material which is already existing there, and I don't want to use the existing one, so I'm going to assign a new material. Let's do that. Please do note these options. We will be using the same option throughout this course. So you need to understand why you're assigning a new material and when you have to assign existing material. So whenever you want to go back to the default material which Maya provides, I would advise you guys to go to the assign existing and choose Lambert. If not, you can go to the assign new material. So this time I go to assign new material, and Maya give you a list of which materials you would like to apply. And I prefer to go with Maya and Arnold. There are materials here like Maya, Arnold, because if you are using Arnold render, there are some Arnold materials that they provide for you. So these are some Arnold renders here. And here let's go with some Maya default materials. Here we have Lambert, then Blaine, great. Then we have Fong and Fongy. So we can use Blaine for materials like polished wood or a plastic. Look at that, a Blaine. So this is a Blaine material. Yeah, it's a Blaine. You can see here, the name is Blaine. Yeah. Now just click outside, you can see the difference there. I turn it off. Now you can see the difference there. It is Lambert, there is no reflection. It is Blaine, where the surface has too much of diffuse rather than specular. Okay, you should understand the difference here. This is a kind of a material you can use for some polished wood, and also for Blaine you can use for plastic material or some mild concrete. For those kind of materials you would use. Whereas Lambert you can use for the objects which are no reflection, like your wall and your hair and skin and some brick material where there is no reflection or no specular. You could use that. Whereas Blaine has a specular. Look at that. Sorry, Blaine has a diffuse. It's too much of diffuse here. Let's select the object. Look at this Blaine. Yeah, you have too much of diffuse. That's what we call this. And you have a little specular. Yeah, you have a little specular and too much of diffuse. That's what Blaine is all about. So that's why we prefer Blaine. And you select this model. Now you can, on the right side, you can see the Blaine. You can change the color also. You can click. You can change the color to whatever you wish, or you can just pick your own color. Yeah, that's how it works. So any color will be fine. Yep. Now look at this. So great. So this is a Blaine. And whenever I right click, I go for material attributes again, I get the blend again back. Okay, so this is one way you can access an object's material. Okay, and there are other ways. So if you would like to rename this, you can name them also, but in this case I'll let them be blend, unless you won't know which material is what. So this one here, this one uses Lambert and this one uses blend, but it's always a good habit to name the object and the material you use. And Control D and duplicate. Right. So here, let me select this. For this object, I right click, I go to assign new material. Let me choose this time not a blend. Let me go to form, which is for metals. You can use this for metals. Yeah, it's just a little polished specular than your blend. And I pick the color to be red again. Yeah. So you could see the reflection is a polished one because it's a specular. It is using a good much specular. It's like the blend and look at the specular there. Yeah, 0.7 and eccentricity is 0.3. And in the font, which is the difference there. Yeah, specular. Look at the specular. It's much higher. Yeah, and the controls vary. We have a much higher specular and reflectivity. Whereas here, look at that. Yeah. So that's how it works. Okay, now let's Control D, duplicate, and there is another material we could use, which is called assign new material. Right click, and this time let's use form E. Right. So this is form, and this is form E. Form eccentricity. You can use this also for materials. And also, now look at that. Let me put this coloring to where again? Yeah, it's form eccentricity. Because the eccentricity values will be higher here. Okay. So there are materials like this, and similarly you have other materials. For example, let me Control D, click and drag. Let me click this because it's in Arnold render. So Arnold render requires a light, which we don't have. So let me switch to a Maya software render and click this. The Maya software render will show you the differences there. Okay, we have the objects and the differences. Yep. And similarly, we have other objects. Let's talk about this Arnold render process. So let me go to Arnold. I'm sorry, let me just right click here, assign new material. This time I prefer Arnold renders. So, but remember, whenever you choose an Arnold shader, then you have to render them only using Arnold render, unless it won't be visible. That is the things there. This Maya shaders will be rendered even in the software mode. Remember this, Maya shaders will render in software mode. Whereas the Arnold shaders will be rendered or visible only if you render your Maya scene with Arnold renders. Okay, so wait time. The moment you're going to apply Arnold, please ensure you're going to render in Arnold. Okay. So let's go for Arnold shaders, and under Arnold, I would like to choose AI standard surface. Let's go with AI standard surface. So now you'd see it's Arnold standard surface. Now select this object. I feel this is disturbing the poly count. Let me go to my display, heads up display and poly count. So let's select this object, and you can see, you can right click, you can go to material attributes. Yeah, now it shows the material attributes or the properties of this object. So now you can see there is a button called presets. Click and hold your mouse button. You can see there are many presets available. So like a blood, bubble, or whichever you wish, you can choose. So first I would like to give a color. Let me give a color of something like a red or anything is fine. Okay, this is by default. You can see that there's a sharp specular. Now select this, go to A standard surface, then presets, click and hold your mouse. There you can see balloon, blood, bubble, brush to metal, replace. So this is brush to metal, this is metal now, and when you render this, you can see it in your wireframe, I mean in your software mode. See, it's not visible properly. we need an Arnold. We need to switch to Arnold. But before we go through that, we have to have some light in the scene. So let's go to create. Arnold lights, and we have a sky dome light. Well, that will do. Now go to Arnold again. Switch to Arnold render view. Play. So here now this is metal. Yeah. And why there is too much of light bleeding is because that's what happened if we use this light, which is this light dome. Yes, this light dome and skylight dome. Yeah, here it reduced the color, but I think it's better I switch to some other light because it's too much. Let's let this light and delete. Go to my Arnold again, lights again. We have go with area light. So here I have an area light. Let me scale this up. Yeah, and press E for rotating the area light. Yeah, here is your area light. And look at the area light's properties. We can increase the intensity of the area light. Yeah, now you can see that the intensity is increasing, and the exposure also increasing. Yeah, let me increase this exposure a little more. Yeah. So and also let me move this a little away and scale it up more. Press R and scale it away. That would do. Fine. And now you can notice this is how the chrome metal looks like. And why we're unable to get this proper is because there is no proper plane. So let me select, press R, and put a plane there beneath all the objects. So yep. Yeah, now you could see the light in this reflection. Yeah, okay. So that's how it works. So let's move this up even, and let me increase my intensity from 9 to 20. The intensity is 20, and the exposure is 5 already. I don't want to expose too much, so let's bring it down to 6 would be fine. Look at that. Yep. Yeah, these are the shadows. We have the shadows here. So light, how much spread you want, that's what the light is about. And the soft edge, if you prefer, you can go for the soft edge of the lighting. But the soft edge also takes some more rendering time, and the roundness also takes some more rendering time. And if you want to increase the spread, like I think the maximum is 1, so we can go beyond that. And the samples will tell you how many samples. The samples is all about how many times you want this to go on. So if you increase samples, you'll get a good output that you have to wait for some time to make this a proper one. So that's what sample. Yeah, now you can see that the samples are good. Then we have a soft edge and everything. Okay, anyway. So still, this is just for our understanding. So let's not make this rendering much slower. So let's reduce the okay. So this is what roundness and soft edge is all about. Yeah, because the higher the value, it will take too much time for rendering. So try to reduce them all. Spread is fine. The soft edge also reduce, and samples of 25. I would like to reduce to maybe 4 or 3. Even that is a much higher number, but anyway, that will give me at least a good output. So let's go with that. So this is what a normal object with a standard surface material. We can again hit Ctrl D and duplicate this. Now we have a standard surface. Now right click this. Now select this object, right click, and noted that now both the objects are sharing the same material. So if I select this object and I go to standard surface, presets, and if I choose play, it will also affect that mode because both the objects are sharing the same material. So this changes. So let's undo that. Control Z. Right click, assign a new material, and this time again I would like to choose the AI standard surface, and here I would like to apply again presets, and we have brushed metal, we already applied. Then bubble, bubble looks like, you know how a bubble looks like. Yeah, man, it's good. We have a good bubble though. Like a small one, a big, or how it is. Yeah, like bubbles next to each other. Okay, we have a bubble, and instead of the bubble, because we won't use normally bubble. Maybe let me select the presets and go to clay. That work. Yeah, this is a clay shader. This, or I can go to car paint. Car paint, you could use it for cars. If you're modeling car wreck or something, you could right click this object, assign new material, and again I would like to choose an Arnold AI standard surface, and here on the AI standard surface, go to the presets and choose what material you want. So you know, clay, or presets like clear water. Yeah, clear water is also good. You can use this for water shader. Yeah, and we have this one works, glass. This is a glass now. So since this is a glass, you will give some reflection. If it gets reflection, you could see that, right? You see the reflection there in a glass. How a glass would be. And when you move close near the glass, how it behaves. When you move away from the glass, how it behaves. It's all about reflections. So whenever you have a glass material or shader, you could use this like a window or like a marble. So for that, you can use the glass. Let me set this bubble. Okay. And also we have other effects like presets. We have gold, it's a gold shade, and we have a honey, and we have some other shades like incandescence bulb. Yeah, of course you will be using if you're shooting an interior or exterior shot. You will need this, and the milk, orange juice. Yeah, man, we can have there's some good appetite. Let's go with plastic. Yeah, this one really helps a lot. This one really helps a lot because plastic is what we really want when we try to model an interior scene or an architecture or something. There will be many plastic equipments, and please remember that plastic equipments always have some kind of too much of diffuse but less specularity. That's what makes an object into a plastic. You could see that the specular will be lesser in plastic, whereas the emission. The specular will be less in plastics, whereas the diffuse will be too much. That's what makes an object to be a plastic one. So these things you need to learn. You need to learn from some online materials. I would recommend you some website where you can learn about the properties of the materials we are using. And we are, of course, we have frosted glass also, and we have rubber. We would need mostly when you're modeling a car or something. If you have a tire, then we use the rubber. Then skin, of course. If you're modeling a human character or organic character, you need to go with a skin. So you need the skin modeling, and of course you can change the attributes also by scrolling down. You can change the properties of how the color has to be and everything. Everything is editable and alterable in Maya. There's no such thing as fixed in Maya. That is what makes Maya a perfect software. Again, presets, then thin plastic, wax, and yep, there's a wax. So these are all the properties. And the one thing which I like in Arnold is with this AI standard surface, just with this one surface, you will be able to pick or any of these settings by click on the presets and hold your mouse button, and you can click and choose any of them. Okay, that's why whenever you click, you'll get some notification here. Deep water, yeah, everything would work fine. Yeah, black. Yeah, this is a black color. Fine. So please do work with this, and of course, if you get some time, just also try to work with lightings. Look at that. We have lighting here. So yep. So this should be a key light, and fill light should be lesser than that. So this should be a fill light, but the fill light should not emit specular, if you know that. So I reduce the specular of this fill light. Okay. So keep on playing with this Arnold lights, and try to use the other lights also, and also try to use with settings. Okay, so as a takeaway from this, remember this, you can create a material by selecting and right click and assign new material. You can click that one. Okay, fine. And if you want to access the properties or change the properties of this material, you can again right click, you can go to material attributes, and you can change the properties of that particular object, maybe turning from one color to another color or something like that. Okay, that will do. And now let's see this cube we have here. So we have a cube here. So what if I, instead of this Lambert material by default, I would like to give some other materials like here. Then I have to right click and let's go for assign existing material, because we already created 6 materials. So there are 7 totally, including the Lambert, which is the default one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 materials there. So I can either go to my for this, the first material, the first chrome surface, I think might be this. Yeah. So this is a chrome. The chrome steel. Yeah, look at that. Man, that's perfect. So that should change the yeah. Okay. That would do. Because I kind of much from lighting. Lighting what makes the object much perfect. Okay. And let's select this again, shift right, just right click, it's not shift, just right click. That's what, when I select the mouse, you can see here is right click. You can see right click, and you have assign existing material. And I go for surface 3, and right click, assign existing material, surface 4, the bloodshed, assign right click. And the plane right click as an existing, and so you can switch from one material to another material. So there might be some questions like, is this how we have to work in Maya? Like every time we have to just right click and choose that? It is just one option in Maya. I prefer this method because everything comes in handy by just right clicking or do that. You know, I'm kind of a guy who works with everything in the same place, like shift right click or control right click or just right click. Anything would work for me. So similarly, if you're not comfortable with that, if you would like to pick your materials, then you should go to Window, Rendering Editors, and Hypershade. Yeah, there you can see all the materials in one place. Or there's a shortcut icon here. Just click on this. Yeah, this will take you to a big screen where you can see all the materials available and the connections. Yeah, with that. Of course, I do understand the materials. The window is bigger. Yeah, look at that. So here it's a standard surface. So these are all the materials we have here. So we have blend, Lambert, form, then standard surfaces, the 3 standard surfaces. Anything would work. So these are the materials here. So the one thing is, if you can directly even drag and drop the materials. For example, let me just bring maybe it's a smaller one. Yeah. Now, yeah, this will work. So I just made this one a smaller one, hypershade. So you can either select the object, right click and go to assign existing and choose this, or you can just middle click. You can find in my mouse, when I middle click it changes. Yeah, you see that? It's middle click. Look at that, middle click. Yeah, middle click works like that. So middle click, drag and drop. Yeah, you notice that color change. You can middle click, drag and drop. The color change. You can middle click, drag and drop. The color changes. And one more thing. So at times you may feel like the light is not affecting the scene, because in the scene we press 4 for wireframe and 5 for shaded mode and 6 is for texturing mode. If you applied any texture, which we have not done it, we are just applying material, or we have just applying shader for the object here, but we have not applied any texture as of now. When I say texture, it's about an image. We're not using any image there. We are applying only shader or material here. That's why when you see here, even it shows that Maya shaders and even Arnold has shader. Yeah. Wait. So you can just middle click, drag and drop this material, any material, you can middle click, drag and drop. Okay, so this would work like, yeah. So, yeah. Okay, this is one work. Or you can select, just right click this material, you can choose select object with this material. This time it will select the object which has this material applied. Yeah, it selects this object. This object has that material. Yeah, hope you understand how it works. So that's also one thing. Or the other thing is, let me select this object and let me select the cube. And this time I can just be here. I can right click, assign material to selection. So now this blend will be applied to that selected object. That's also one of the way you can do that. So you can do that, or you can just drag and drop, or you can just right click and do select assign existing. So the same thing you can access by 3 ways, accessing 3 ways in Maya. So that's the beauty. And also it depends upon your style of work. And if you, for example, if you want to access, I think you can access them even here. Let me select this material, and once you double click that material, it will open the properties of that material here. Double click this one, it will open the properties of this one. So that also works. Okay, so even you can access it also like in this way. But to me, it's like selecting an object, right click, and material attributes will take me here. So this is also one way. Okay, and this is double click here, or this is another way. I hope you all understand. And yeah, this is how we use. And also the cool thing in Hypershade is it's just one place where you can even create new materials. See, you have Maya materials and you have a Mental Ray. I was a big fan of Mental Ray back in previous versions of Maya. It was mastered all those shaders. It's too much fun, and it's Arnold here now, which is much faster and productive than Mental Ray, I would say, in my experience. So even you can create your own material by just click here. Yeah, now your A flat is created. You will see that. And this is some connections. This is for some connections. For example, you select this object, double click. So there are some connections here for each object. It's A flat now. Yeah. So now you can select for which object you would like to apply a flat. You can just middle click, drag and drop. So this is also another way. And for example, now you can see that now we have only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I believe. Yeah, we have 7 objects in the scene, and 7 objects and one which are sharing 7 shaders, means 7 materials or shaders, and 1 for Lambert. So by default, we will be having how many? Just select right click. We have right now we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 objects we have. So we have 8 shaders. Yeah. So keep that in mind that how many models we have in the scene, and also how many shaders we have in the scene. Keep that in mind and use productively. Do not use anything extra there. That will waste the times. And you can go to your edit, delete unused nodes, which will delete the unused nodes. Now you can see that the AI flat material we created just now is gone, because Maya will calculate whether the material created were used by any object in the scene. If not, it will delete that material by itself. It is a kind of optimization technique which would reduce your file size and rendering time and make your system work much faster when you're working for a big project where all the unused files, models, and the materials will be deleted. I hope you guys can understand, and let's talk further about this. So now we know how to apply a material to any object. All you do is just right click and just right click the model, assign new material, and you can pick the materials, you can change the color. Ta-da, that's it. So let's see you in the next class about texture.